Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Under the company, the next one is planning and budgeting. Under planning budgeting, we have these four parts: set up budgets, set up forecast, cash flow projectors, and use business plan tools. Let us go first for the budgets. What is budget? Budget simply means estimation. So we have to make estimation for the next periods or for the future, that how much should be for our expenses, how much should be our revenue. It is basically how much should be. How much should be our revenue, how much should be our expenses. If we are dealing with income statements. Also, how much should be our asset, how much should be our liability, and so on, if we are dealing with the balance sheet. So business people usually make a budget for the next accounting period. For example, in the next accounting period, how much should be our revenue, how much should be our expenses, or how much should be our total asset, how much should be our total liability, and so on. Basically, they forecast or they estimate the next accounting years or the next accounting period's performance. How can you do that? Of course, you can do it through setting the budget. Then click on this one if you want to set it, right? See, in my case, already there are some budgets, but I'm going to create a new budget. Okay. Once again, let me go back, set the budget, create on the new. When you click on this one, so QuickBook, first of all, asks you create a new budget. Okay, as this is now 2020, so we have to create for 2021. Why? Because budget will be for the next accounting period. Let us say, for example, we want to create a budget for 2021. Then choose the budget types, whether you want to make a budget for your profit and loss account or you want to make a budget for your balance sheet. First, let us make a budget for our income statement or profit and loss. We know that in income statement or profit and loss, we can see only the items of incomes and the items of expenses and revenue. So we want to create for income, for profit and loss account. Then click for the next. Additional profit and loss budget criteria. Do you want to create some additional criteria? Do you want to make this profit and loss budget based on customers or jobs? Do you want to make it based on class? No, we don't want it now. But in the future, of course, we can do it. But now, for the time being, no need for additional information. If no need for additional information, then once again, click on the next. Then, a budget already exists. It says that for this accounting period, there is already a budget. So if you want to create for the next accounting period, of course, you have to select that one. Let us say, for example, we want to create for 2021, 22, additional information. Choose how you want to create a budget. There are two ways of creating a budget. Create a budget from scratch. It means you have to make a new budget. Everything should be new. And of course, the second way is create a budget from the previous year's actual data. If you go for the first option, it means you're not considering the previous year's data. You make a new budget, everything from zero, right? So it is like, for example, you don't have experience, you don't have information from the past. It is just the first time that you're making the budget. You do not consider the past year, or you do not consider the historical data. And this type of budget also can be called a zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budgeting means zero is considered as base. So that is called zero-based budgeting. So it means if you want to make a budget, do not consider the past data. Just make everything from scratch or make everything from the 0 point. And the second type of budget is called create a budget from previous year's actual data. Also, we can call it historical budget. Historical budget means while setting or while making a budget for the next accounting period, consider the last year's or consider the past performance of the business and make some changes to that and then make a budget for the next accounting period. Let us say, for example, we want to make a budget from scratch. Then click on the next, finish. Then, these are the sort of information, these are the sort of accounts. These are the accounts of expenses as well as the accounts of revenue that you have to provide or you have to estimate it. First of all, let us say, for example, we want to estimate for sales. This is, of course, made for the next 12 months. For example, from January up to December. Let us say, for example, we have estimated amount of 1 lakh sale for the next, for example, for the next year in the January. For the next January, how much sales? 1 lakh is sales. Or let us say, for example, 1 lakh is a small amount. Let us say, for example, we want to make it 5 lakh. So 5 lakh should be for the next accounting, for the next month in the next accounting period. Okay? If If you want to provide, of course, information for the next month, so you can do it in two ways. One way, you can enter it manually, right? You can do it like this for the next and next up to the end. And the other way is simply click on this one and say copy across. When you say copy across, so it will be copied for all of them, right? This is the short way. Then interest from bank, this is another one. Let us say, for example, for the next accounting period, for each month we will have a 20,000 interest. Then copy across. It will be across, copy. If you made a mistake, then say, for example, clean. If you say clean, okay, there was a mistake, so we have cleaned everything. So Control Z is not possible here, then you have to enter it again. 5 lakh, that is copy across. Then interest is, for example, 30,000, copy across. So in this way, you can make estimation for each type of expenses as well as for each type of revenue. Let us say, for example, I'm saying that the postage and stationery should be 25,000 for each month, then copy across. In this way, cost of goods sold, how much should be cost of goods sold? Let us say cost of goods sold should be 4 lakh and copy across. If this is same for each month, this is fine. Otherwise, if this is not same for each month, even we can make those changes as well, right? Let us say one of the other expenses, let us say training expenses. Let us say training expenses might be 30,000 for the month of January. It may increase by a few percentage for the next and next month. So that thing is also possible with the QuickBook. Click on this one or click on this section. For that purpose, go for this one. Adjust row amounts. Click on this one. So select first month. If you select first month, so what will happen? Select first month, increase each month by a specific amount or increase each month by a specific percentage. And also you can decrease each month by a specific amount or a specific percentage. Let us say each month should be increased by 10,000. Not 10,000, let us say each month should be increased by 3,000. By how much? By 3,000. Then copy, right? See, this is, okay, we made a mistake here basically. First, we have to copy first this one. Let us once again enter this one. Copy across. Now let us go for adjust the row. Select first one. And let us say, for example, each row should increase by how much? By 3,000. Click OK. Now, 33, 33, 33, 33, and so on. Up to the end, it is 33,000, right? Select another expenses. Let us say bad debt. How much should be our bad debt? Our bad debt might be 5,000. Then copy across. First of all, you have to copy across. Then click on the adjustment. Let us say each month should increase by 10%. It can be in the percentage as well. Then click on this one. 5,500, 5,500 up to the end. But remember that in this case, amounts are the same for each month. It is just the same, right? Let us say another expenses. Production sampling. Okay. That's also a type of expenses. Okay. That's expense. Let us say this expenses is amount of 20,000. Copy across. Point number one. Point number two, click on this one, and instead of first month, select the current selected month. Current selected month, and this increase by 4,000. By how much? By 4,000. Let us see what will happen. Then select this one. So it started from the current period. 24, 24, 24, 24, 24, 24, and so on. Let us do for one more. There was again some confusion. Let us select some other expenses or some other revenues. Let us say sales income. Sales income, let us say, for example, although the sales is already selected, but let us say this is also a type of sales. Select this one. Instead of the first month, now click here. See? Current selected month. Then if you say current selected month, then revenue will increase not from the first month, it will increase from this month itself. So from which month? From the second month. So select current month and should increase by how much? By 4,000, not the first month. So there is no effect on the first month, but effect is after that, right? Let us say some other incomes we have in the business. Sales discount. Let us say sales discount is amount of 6,000. How much? 6,000. First of all, copy across. Let us say, for example, the sales discount will increase from this month onwards, not from this month. Then click on this one, select current month, and increase by 10%. By how many percentage? By 10%. copy across, so it increased from this month onwards, right? This is one the case. Next one, select one more thing, some expenses account. Let us say this is meals and entertainment. Let us say it's 50,000 for meals and entertainment for each month. Number one, copy across. Second one, click on this one. Let us say, for example, in the previous example, each one increased by the same amount or by the same percentage. This time I want to show in different figure. For example, if this month is 50, this should be 55. This should be, for example, 60. I'm saying that each month increased by a specific amount or a specific percentage as compared to the previous month, right? For example, this month is 50,000. Next month maybe 50,000 plus 10 percentage. Next month, then 60,000 plus, for example, plus 10 percentage. If this is so, in this case, once again, click on this one, then go for the selected month, or go for the, selected month. Then, of course, select this one, enable compounding. Enable compounding and increase it by 10 percentage. By how many percentage? 10 percentage. Now, let's see what will happen. The first one is 50. This is the second one is increased by 10 percentage, 55. And increased by 10 percentage of 55 becomes 60. And up to the end, it's increased up to this much amount, right? So if your expenses or revenue increase by a few percentage or decrease by a few percentage for the next accounting periods, so you can adjust it in this way, right? And the same way, interest expenses, let us say this is amount of 20,000, right? Number one, to this one. Number two, click on adjustment. Let us say my interest will increase by a 1,000, for example, for each accounting, for each month. Click this one. Then 19, then 18, then 17, then 16, and so on. Up to the end, it is 9,000. In this way, you can make adjustment, right? This is the purpose of. If you don't want, then you can collect. Then save it, then OK. So once again, now if you go for the company, click on the budget, you can find out budget for 2020. How many budgets are already made, so you can find out budget for 2020, 21, and 22, right? If you want to see, for example, 2021, so although there is no proper budget, but so it shows something is saved for this purpose. But budget for 2022 is fine, already we made. If you want to create a few more budget, then you can click it. So for 2020, for example, 2021. But this time you want to make budget for balance sheet. Previously we made for income statement, now it is for balance sheet. Click on this one. Then okay, ready to create budget. Then okay, finish. Then create a budget, right? So provide information for each type of asset as well as you can provide information for each type of liabilities. I'm not going to provide information. I'm just going to provide for one of this only. For example, let us say for this account. So AIB Bank should be 50,000. Let us say, for example, we want to save it. I'm not going to practice this one, but I'm just going to show you that how can you make it. So that was the way that you can make a budget for your income statements as well as a budget for your balance sheet. So one budget for the balance sheet and one budget for the income statements. And this is the way. Once again, if you want to collect, you can click on this one, then create a budget, then of course you can do finish. Otherwise, if it is profit and loss, then you can do this one. One more step is there. Then whether you can do it from scratch or you can do it from there. So if you want to do it from scratch or based on the historical data, you can select this one, right? So save and close it.